Stanford University. Please be seated.
Welcome, graduating students, families and friends, faculty, trustees, and administrators to the 2016 Stanford University Baccalaureate, our multi-faith celebration, a time of reflection in the midst of this busy weekend, and in a way the bookend to the convocation service that you all attended at the very beginning of your 4 years here. As we formally begin our commencement weekend celebrations and welcome our guests, families, and friends to Jane and Leland Stanford's great university, so too we acknowledge that this university was built on ancestral Mwekma Ohlone tribal land, or Mwekma Taruk, the Chochenyo language word for house of the people. We are deeply honored to have as our baccalaureate speaker today the Most Reverend Dr. Catherine Jefferts-Schori, former presiding bishop of the Episcopal Church with its more than 2 million members in 17 countries and 109 dioceses, a position she held from 2006 to 2015. She was the first woman to be elected to that post, and as a consequence, has been one of the most visible women in Christianity worldwide over the last decade. We are proud that Dr. Jefferts-Schori is a Stanford alumna, graduating in 1974 with a Bachelor of Science degree in biology. She then earned a PhD in oceanography from Oregon State University and later trained for ministry, being ordained as an Episcopal priest in 1994. Of her time at Stanford, she has said, "I was really wrestling with the science and religion thing. There was a disconnect, and I knew that Mem Chu was a place where people wrestled. So I would go there in the middle of the night, and I'd just sit." Bishop Catherine, we are delighted that your wrestling led you not only to a career in oceanography, but also to a vocation in the church, where your leadership has been exemplary and has displayed all that Stanford hopes for its students as they go out from this place and create their own change in the world. Public service, wisdom, courage, a huge passion for justice, compassion, perseverance, and strength. We are so pleased that you accepted this invitation to return to Stanford to speak at this baccalaureate. Welcome back, and thank you. It will also be our great pleasure this morning to hear our student speaker, Zainab Temouri, who will be earning a Bachelor of Arts in African and African American Studies with honors. She is a Mellon Mays Undergraduate Fellow and a recipient of the President's Award for Academic Excellence, and was recently elected to Phi Beta Kappa, the nation's oldest and most prestigious liberal arts and sciences honor society. She too has a passion for justice, for building community, and that's reflected in her great interest in the relationship between architecture and justice and the spaces we create so that we can gather together. In talking with me about her experience at Stanford, she reminisced about her very first Friday prayers at the Sanctuary, which is part of our Interfaith Center here on campus, and the feeling she had on that day 4 years ago of the different parts of her life coming together as a woman, as a Muslim, as a student, and as an Afghan American. Congratulations to each of you who will graduate tomorrow, including our own president, and our warmest wishes for your future. Congratulations and a heartfelt thanks to all of you too, who are family, members, and friends. You have supported these graduates in so many ways, and they and we couldn't do it without you. Thank you.
Please join me now in the invocation, a prayer of the Ojibwe Nation. We know that in all creation, only the human family has strayed from the sacred way. We know that we are the ones who are divided, and we are the ones who must come back together to walk in the sacred way. Sacred One, teach us love, compassion, and honor, that we may heal the earth and heal each other.
A reading from Two Kinds of Intelligence by Rumi. There are two kinds of intelligence. One, acquired. As a child in school memorizes facts and concepts from books and from what the teacher says, collecting information from the traditional sciences as well as from the new sciences. With such intelligence, you rise in the world. You get ranked ahead or behind others in regard to your competence in retaining information. You stroll with this intelligence in and out of fields of knowledge, getting always more marks on your preserving tablets. There is another kind of tablet, one already completed and preserved inside you. A spring overflowing its springbox, a freshness in the center of the chest. This other intelligence does not turn yellow or stagnate. It's fluid, and it doesn't move from outside to inside through conduits of plumbing learning. This second knowing is a fountainhead from within you, moving out.
A reading from the prophet Isaiah, chapter 65, beginning at verse 17. For I am about to create new heavens and a new earth. The former things shall not be remembered or come to mind. But be glad and rejoice forever in what I am creating. For I am about to create Jerusalem as a joy and its people as a delight. I will rejoice in Jerusalem and delight in my people. No more shall the sound of weeping be heard in it, or cry of the distress. No more shall there be in it an infant that lives but a few days, or an old person who does not live out a lifetime. For one who dies at 100 years will be considered a youth, and one who falls short of 100 will be considered accursed. They shall build houses and inhabit them. They shall plant vineyards and eat their fruit. They shall not build and another inhabit. They shall not plant and another eat. For like the days of a tree shall the days of my people be, and my chosen shall long enjoy the work of their hands. They shall not labor in vain or bear children for calamity, for they shall be offspring blessed by the Lord, and their descendants as well. Before they call, I will answer. While they are yet speaking, I will hear. The wolf and the lamb shall feed together. The lion shall eat straw like the ox, but the serpent, its food shall be dust. They shall not hurt or destroy on all my holy mountain, says the Lord.
Sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. You used to rock me in the cradle of your arms. You said you'd hold me till the pains of life were gone. You said you'd comfort me in times like these, and now I need you. Now I need you. And you are gone. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. Since you've gone and left me, there's been so little beauty, but I know I saw it clearly through your eyes. Now the world outside is such a cold and bitter place. Here inside I have few things that will come so. And when I try to hear your voice above the storms of life, then I remember all the things that I was told. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I think on the things that made me feel so wonderful when I was young. I think on the things that made me laugh, made me dance, made me sing. I think on the things that made me grow into a being full of pride. I think on these things, for they are true. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty I know that who I am is numbered in each grain of sand. I know that I've been blessed again and over again. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation to be here. Thank you for your welcome. Thank you for being here. What's your life worth? Have the years you've spent here learning, discovering, and developing relationships that will last a lifetime been worth your while? Has it been worth your parents' emotional and financial support? And the investment your professors, teachers, and coaches have made? You leave this place with expectation and hope that your lives will be worthy. The world around us often judges worth in terms of monetary value. But the deeper roots of the word are related to becoming and the turning or bending of transformation, with the sense that the worth of something is judged by what it might become. It may be what the plow turns, or a verse of poetry, or sports competition, Stanford versus that place over there, or a legal encounter, Brown versus Board of Education. The Latin root behind that turning, vertere, also yields the turning of conversation and the conversion of heart and mind. For when we turn toward one another and engage the other's full worth and possibility, all parties can be transformed. Worth is also derived from an Old English word that means a place to return. The home place that Robert Frost insisted is where they have to take you in. The place where your worth is finally and fully acknowledged. And we should also note that worship means recognizing and affirming what is ultimately worthy. Literally, it's worthship. What is your life worth? And what is worthy of your life's full energies? The wisdom of the ancients, our ancestors across the globe, would have us attend to what is truly worthy and shape our lives in that homeward direction. We heard Isaiah's vision about a destination worthy of his people's wholehearted attention and labor, a city of peace, which is the deep meaning of that name, Jerusalem. A city inhabited by joyful people, living in plenty with no hint of oppression or servitude, living in peace because of right and just relationships with their human neighbors and the rest of creation. That vision of deep peace in a whole and healed world shapes the prophet's work and life, energizes his voice and action, and continues to lure his people into a new and more hopeful future. The prophet speaks out of passion, which is at least a two-splendored thing. Passion is both the animating force that drives him toward the realization of his dream, in this case, what he understands as God's dream for creation. And passion is also the cost he suffers for speaking, motivating, and enacting that vision. Passion is both the frenetic joy in the company of your beloved and the cost of relationship, whether learning to put up with another's personal foibles or surrendering that piece of your heart at the grave. Fyodor Dostoevsky said the only thing he truly dreaded was that his life wouldn't be worthy of his suffering. What is your life worth? Where and for what or whom will you spend your passion? You've tasted many and varied flavors of passion in the time you've been here, including the elation that comes of investing your whole being in game or sport, or sharing the gloried experience of those who do. Stanford hasn't seen 2 Rose Bowl wins in 4 years since I was a student here in the 70s. For most, it may be reflected glory, but nonetheless, it draws the community into a greater whole. What is that worth? You've discovered the boundless gift of relationships with those who come from diverse contexts across this nation and across the globe. And you've most assuredly found both shared experience and occasionally confounding difference. Open exchange has been just one way to constructively explore and build on those impassioned encounters. We don't have to look much past Twitter or the latest news cycle to know how urgently the world needs greater skill and investment in conversation that affirms the worth of difference and dialogue that will engage that difference creatively. The multidisciplinary learning and research that President Hennessy has so passionately espoused here is a powerful expression of the creative possibility of diversity. None of us has the answers to all the world's challenges, though each of us has a unique offering to make. And together, we have far greater possibility to find a homeward way for this fragile planet and its lively cargo. The passion that students here have brought to questions of justice, whether the violence of policing in American cities, hopes for peace in the Middle East, faculty diversity, or fossil fuel divestment, have given you a taste of the complexity of finding constructive and creative solutions. The awakening of that passion is a gift. Both the vision of a transformed future and the suffering that are its essence. We hope that it will be an abiding gift. The very ability to engage your passion in this community is the result of Leland and Jane Stanford's willingness to answer the pain of their son's death by letting their hopes for him be transformed. Our own willingness to invest our full selves in a passionate dream and to bear the cost necessary to its realization, even the pain of our own transformation, is perhaps the most worthy possible use of one's life. This remarkable community continues to model that passion for transformation in organic ways that shape its graduates. The encouragement to engage diverse ways of knowing and worldviews was part of Stanford's birth, welcoming both women and men with the goal of educating useful citizens. The arts and humanities continue to be essential to that goal, even as this institution celebrates its extensive and innovative history in science and technology. All of those varied worldviews are essential to the full flourishing of humanity and this planet, to the worth of the global home we share. St. Paul's Cathedral in London hosts a remarkable example of passionate transformation in a provocative recent video art installation. Bill Viola's work is titled Martyrs, a word that means witnesses, those who will claim a creative vision with passion enough to hope for greater life despite the threat of death. In the installation, 4 human witnesses begin in quiet, their peace soon disturbed by increasingly relentless elemental assault by earth or air or fire or water. It evokes the question we began with: what is your life worth? For what are you willing to die or spend your passion? None of us can foreknow the full cost of claiming and pursuing life-giving dreams, yet it is the passion we invest that makes them meaningful, possible, and worthy. What is your life worth? Tackling the profoundly interconnected impacts of climate change on the ability of human beings to feed their families, sustain their ways of life in peace, or bear children for health rather than calamity? Is it worth working to ensure the ecological sustainability of this planet through power generation in innovative ways, or through habitat restoration? Is it about developing more creative negotiation tools and peacemaking strategies so that human beings might study war no more? Or perhaps teaching children, neighbors, and ourselves the deep worth of diversity? What about confronting entrenched attitudes and systems that continue to maintain some categories of human being as less worthy than others, whether they are the objects of gender violence, racial profiling, or generational poverty? Is it worth studying the inner workings of genes and cellular functions in order that illness might be relieved? Or unknitting the complex life cycles of the stars, their birth, destruction, black holes, new elements, rebirth, to yield even greater awe and wonder? Is it honoring the worth of another by attending deeply and creatively enough to hear a person into speech, as Nell Morton put it? Is it worth composing music and making art to help express the longing of human souls for meaning in this mortal coil? Whatever worthy witness you choose, pursue it wholeheartedly, like princes raining passion for purple, or the wit and wisdom of Muhammad Ali, who learned to float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, and reminded us that one who is not courageous enough to take risks will accomplish nothing in this life. Keep count of that courage when the cost seems too high. Remember the companions who walked these halls with you. Lean on each other in the coming years. Encourage the Nerd Nation web of relationships to expand and deepen and grow new synapses beyond this bubble. For none of us ever goes anywhere on our own hook or steam alone. The world needs nerds and farmers and tree huggers and dreamers and every other partner you can find. Tend and test that web, for it will never become resilient and life-sustaining without life-giving challenge and passion. Take the tree with you. Take it as an icon of organic community. Learn from the diverse denizens hosted in its branches and among its roots. And let El Palo Alto become a tree of life for the world you go out to serve. Remember the farm that formed you and help the world turn furrows for fruitfulness. Windhover's gifts and inspiration will accompany you if you search new skies for that dapple dawn-drawn falcon, which rides the rolling winds abroad as well as here. And as your worthy life endures and persists through pain and joy for dreamed of ends, the furrow turned will yield abundantly, and ash will become the blood-red gold of passion lived and offered for the world. Go well. Go in community. Let your passion lead you, that the world might become that turning place where each one is met in dignity and known as worthy. Then will joy abound. Go live a passionate and a worthy life.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of God, the merciful, the gracious. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be with you. It's an honor to join you for Baccalaureate during the month of Ramadan, a chance for all of us to reflect on the spiritual journeys of education. Class of 2016, welcome. Riding my bike through this quad on my way to class, I think often of my grandmother, one of the first in her high school to ride a bike. I see her cruising through the streets of Kabul, Afghanistan. Mamani would cycle past Pamir Cinema, over the Kabul River Bridge, ahead of Serena Hotel to arrive at Zarghuna High School, just 2.5 miles from her home. I see both of us at 22, two young women on wheels, focused on a destination. Turns out, my grandmother was a lot better on the bike than I am. My first week on the farm, freshman year, I had a bike accident. As a cast clamped down on the length of my fractured arm, I thought, that's it. I messed up my first quarter of Stanford. My eager plans to attend dozens of student group meetings to drop in on every single interesting class offered were all out the window. But in the following months, the people who held my plate, tied back my hair, saved me a spot in class, welcomed me in meetings, left me with some of my clearest memories of Stanford in those moments after an unexpected stumble. Dear classmates, I have admired you in action as cutting-edge researchers, as confident scholars, as dedicated athletes. I have seen you in your quiet ways be the best of planners. But what I have learned from you, class of 2016, is how you have wrestled with your uncertainties, confronted your doubts, questioned your destinations. You've taught me from the late night snack study breaks and impromptu a cappella concerts to your marches and your vigils and your protests that the unscripted Stanford moments stand in sharp relief when the routines of this campus have long blurred together. And what others have dismissed as aberration, you have embraced as new ways of thinking, doing, being. And in these times, we have realized that our destinations as individuals and as institutions are constantly changing. Our important moments came from those times of doubt, the times of uncertainty, the frustrations, the fractures in our routines. From 10 years denied to survivors silenced, moments we just could not have planned. Let us take this time to reflect on how we made these moments into powerful destinations for ourselves and our communities. You know, every time I hop on my bike now, I say a prayer. It's a line from the Quran. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. وَقُلْ رَبِّ أَنزِلْنِي مُنزَلًا مُبَارَكًا وَأَنْتَ خَيْرُ الْمُنزِلِينَ وَأَنْتَ خَيْرُ الْمُنزِلِينَ. My sustainer, cause me to reach a destination blessed by you, for you are the best to show us how to reach our true destination. For me, this is different than asking for a specific outcome. It's more about the reaching. And over time, I realized that the destinations I planned for and prayed for were limited to what I thought was possible. It takes courage to leave that transformative vision open-ended for something bigger than ourselves. It takes courage to act despite fear. I reflect, humbled, as I join you here, family, friends, classmates, professors, that today all of our distinct journeys, including my grandmother's and I, converge here at Stanford University as we fashion our new, powerful destinations. Thank you.
I invite you to stand for the benediction. Beyond the arches, beyond the palms, beyond cardinal red to the blue unknown, may you shine brightly, buoyed by the sea of knowledge surrounding you, sailing in the ocean of opportunity before you, sharing in the rivers eternally flowing, joining each of you, one another, and this place. O Creator of all the living, sustainer of creativity and compassion, guide tomorrow's graduates as they move beyond Stanford. Embrace them and all of us with love and with courage. Bless us gathered here today with commitment and with confidence, with purpose and with promise, to care for our tattered world and to ever nurture and shape its infinite possibilities. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehecheyanu v'kiyimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. You abound in blessing, source of all creation, who has kept us alive and sustained us and enabled us to reach this joyous moment. Amen.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 2, 3, 1.
For more, please visit us at stanford.edu.